All right, fellow TIs. I hope this is at least large enough for you to see. Okay, so here's my current thoughts on the situation. I've showed a lot, even without me showing, I'm quite certain a lot of you have already know or realized that a lot of the stuff, in regards to the food, in regards to not just the food, but the water filtration systems that they're doing now. Apparently a fellow TI mentioned something that they were going to end up doing something about, to the water filtration systems. Now, considering they're already spraying the area, dust down with nanoparticles on in the local neighborhoods as well as the cities and stuff like that. There's also, the fact that this is being, the fact that the whole water messing, with the messing with the water is being mentioned. And now you got the Antifa and BLM basically working their way in there. It's starting to make it makes a whole lot of sense why they would do that. Now, they're doing that because it's basically out of a desperate attempt, to basically destroy the main structure, the main foundations of where people are at, and where they would most likely, take refuge at, and to be able to have the forefront and where they're coming from, which is their home, their castle and whatnot, right? So they're taking it there, and they're basically going to attack the homes of many different individuals. These are going into the suburban neighborhoods. Now, it's not safe to even be in the city or the neighborhoods at all. It just isn't. That's just how it is. It's going to get much worse. I'm very glad to see that people are kicking these rioters out of their neighborhoods, though. I am very glad to see that. I truly am. Um, but at the same time, people who are fighting against this need to understand the other threats out there too. There's much more threats than just these rioters. Remember, these rioters are just a distraction for what they're actually doing. For when they poison your water, for when they already are poisoning it with fluoride anyway. So there's that. But they're but for what was mentioned, it's supposed to be something much worse. Now I would have tried to find out about more about this, but can't right now. But I will see what I can find as soon as I can. Now, as for people who don't know, when it comes to the whole directed energy weapons grade systems and the whole gang stalking program that exists out there that a lot of fellow TIs go through, you see these connections here: the CIA, the MJ12, the CFR, AFSPC, ODNI, DOJ, DIA, DHS, which is DHS fusion centers, NCTC, FBI, and then you see the fusion centers is already, it's already underneath the DHS, but it's also pointing the arrow to directed energy weapons, and that's linked all with FAFSPC. This is for people who don't know the connections of all these these government made groups. But this is just so you know who's which groups are responsible for what. Now then, as you see, a lot of these, the ones in the middle, tie in with the whole Homeland Security Intelligence Council, HSIC. This whole thing is an overview of the targeting individual program and all of these individual groups that are involved, as I mentioned before. So anyway, there's many different ways to shield, but the most important thing is to really detoxify yourself. The problem is, they hire you see those rioters and those people. You know how those Antifa individuals will actually infiltrate your peaceful protests. You notice that, right? Gang stalkers do the same thing. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if gang stalkers would be a part of a neighborhood watch. I wouldn't be surprised if they're part of Antifa, and I sure as hell wouldn't be surprised if they're part of BLM. I wouldn't be surprised at all. Now, not all gang stalkers are going to be a part of these groups. They're probably just going to be any random person out on that you would normally see on the street. That you see, this program caters on people's desires and their desperation, what they would need. They basically fulfill those needs for these people to just for them to go out and do what they do, which is why they're so damn desperate. They get themselves in so far involved that sometimes they have absolutely no idea how deep this situation goes and what this system actually does. They wouldn't even have any idea. They wouldn't have any idea that someone's being tortured with directed energy weapons and they're paying them to do this dumb stuff that they do as a psyop to basically, cause trauma to that person so they can try to control that person. This is something that happens all the time, and every single day. Any TI who immediately, hang on, let me fix that, immediately walks outside or whatever, you best believe that these perps are going to be right there waiting. Before you even exit your home, before you even exit through your door, they're out there waiting to basically psyop you. The trick, as I mentioned before, and I need to keep mentioning this, don't ever pay attention to these gang stalkers. Don't ever, go out of your way to really, just be hooked on what they're doing, because in the end, there's a reason why they do that. They want you to see that. They want you to engage in that. Why? So if they find out if you're engaging into that, they're calibrating the systems to basically frequently and heat on those thoughts. Because of what this stuff does, because of the significance of all of this, it does have, these weapon grade systems that they do use does have the ability to heat on your thoughts. Now you may be wondering, well, how would they be able to do that? Simple. There's something known as C19, which is why I find it very odd. The whole COVID-19 situation. I find it very odd because I'm hearing way back. This was way before this whole bullshit started. I'm hearing like how the drug that was being used, and this was developed by scientists when it was known as C19, right? C/19. It was, and this was actually the shit that they were using for mind control. This was a man-made engineered parasite that basically invades the host of a person, and it is. It's programmed to basically, make a bio-linkable web around the individual's body, all over. It's kind of like the wiring on a circuit board, something like that. And this thing actually connects to your nerves, so it's getting, he is basically getting its, its electrical energy from your own body system. It's feeding off of that. And as it's inside the body, it's basically, making this, creating this biofilm all around the skin, all on the surface of the skin. And if you want evidence that they basically are intentionally doing this, there's so many TIs out there with tons of evidence. But certain TIs need to understand the type of evidence that needs to be shown. The evidence that needs to be seen is evidence of when you walk out. Don't point anything out. Don't say anything. Don't say nothing. Just walk out with a camera. It's best to have camera glasses, though. Don't say anything. Just walk out. Just go about your day. Don't say nothing. Just keep to yourself. Right? Don't say nothing. Don't point nothing out. Don't, pay too much attention to what they're doing. Just go through just basically go through your day without reacting to what they're doing. Right? Record as you're doing this. As you're doing this, record it. Have all that recorded. What people are going to see is all the tactics that are obviously reoccurring. This will have to be a video on more than one day, of course. But you see, when they see these reoccurring actions that are happening, that's how they get to see what you're going through. You get it? And that's how you got to basically look at it. And it's best to always just have it record and then do an overview of the footage when you're in a safe environment. If you're out in the open, they're gonna try to psyop you and basically try to program and set you up, just like they tried to do me during that McDonald's incident that I've showed you all a while back. Now, if you didn't hear the audio, it's gonna be way at the bottom of the first Mischievous M's channel. You can find it there way at the bottom of the list. If you want to see the video footage, that's also that's going to be on my main channel, MM's TI Strategy Guide. Most of you who have subscribed to most likely this channel, you've already been aware of both of those channels already. If you're wondering why I didn't upload any more videos there, it's because of the strikes. I decided to leave those channels alone and let them just be there for, information to help people out. I'm not really too worried about them because I've already since migrated their content. All of the, all the content that was very important, that had all the key points that we needed to know about, and all of the things that basically how to deal with these things. All of that has already been migrated. I've already left links to those, to where it's been migrated, and many different people have already seen them. So here's the overall structure of this. Basically, when the whole program first starts, you won't even have any idea that it's happening. They'll most likely put equipment, surveillance equipment in your home. Even now, they probably do have surveillance equipment in this apartment that I'm in right now. They probably do, but judging from if my research is accurate from what I've seen, they with the way this stuff is, they basically made cameras that are basically the size of dust particles. But also, there's also these there's these low emission transceiver devices. So they got those too. Not to mention, understand when they hack into your phone, they can basically hear through your phone, and they can see through your camera too. So there's that as well. So if you were to basically say, oh, well, like I'm going to go do, X, Y, and Z, they would hear that. Not to mention, especially if you live in an apartment, they're going to hire the people next to you, or they're going to pay people off to move and leave so they can get their people in. These people are most likely operatives working for this organization. They, from the minute you wake up to the minute you go to sleep, to the minute you're basically doing anything, they are constantly recording and reporting back to their superiors on your actions and what you're doing and your current situation. One thing needs to be understood about this, everybody, and that's that when someone's being hit with directed energy weapons, and considering a lot of the programmable technology that was put out there, nobody's actions should ever be at the fault of their own when it comes to, the sinister ability of this situation. And I know some of you may disagree with me on that, but you need to understand. You must understand that this situation is very, very deceptive, and it will trick everybody. And the one thing that they want is a civil war. The people who put all of this shit together want a civil war. They want that. That is exactly what they want. They want depopulation. They want you fighting amongst each other. They don't want you basically, coming to terms with one another. They basically, created a huge amount of dysfunctional, brainwashed morons to where they're basically pushing stuff and they don't even know half of anything of what they're even talking about. They're so inept and so convinced of their own shit that they don't even see the reality of what that really is. If their shit succeeds and they're gonna end, I guarantee you this. If it ever did, and if it ever does, the people who worked for them are gonna regret their actions. They're gonna regret it. They're not gonna like what they basically brought out, and that's just the truth. They can convince themselves every day of their crap, but they're not gonna like what's gonna be the end game of that. They're not. At all. They're not. And at the same time, you got to understand the amount of arrogance when it comes to these individuals. They're not going to want to listen to you. They're just going to go ahead and just push their own narratives down because there are people who are just that addicted to money. They basically wanted people to be addicted to money, be addicted to the system, and be addicted to basically not looking out of life to basically more of a independent situation. This shit is not a state of independence. This shit is basically a state of pretty much obviously communism, slavery, lack of free speech, meaning also lack of freedom, higher surveillance everywhere, everybody basically shackled the fuck up, muzzled. It's crazy, man. They don't care about the people who are dying as a result of this. All the innocent people who are end up dead and they don't even ever bring up the kids who ended up losing their lives as regards to this when it comes to the rioters. They don't ever bring that up. You want to know what they want to bring up? They want to say, oh, the black man that have died, black man have died this. people. There are black men killing black men, but at the same time, you see, even that itself defeats its own purpose because there is no black man out there. Excuse me. There is no black man on this planet. There's nobody with that skin tone. And again, you take the color black, you get a piece of black construction paper, you put that up against your skin. Anybody basically calling themselves black, right? You do that. You can't tell me that that's your skin tone color. You can't tell me that. Your skin tone is brown, not black. Come on, man. Seriously. And it's just the amount of people really need to start realizing the amount of the situation is. Even look at this, start looking at the meanings behind the word black itself. You're going to find out that one of the meanings behind that word, hence, is actually hence the absence of color. It is. It really is. But I'm not trying to turn this into this conversation to a whole racial debate thing. That's not what this is about. But that's just my current stand on that situation. But anyway, what's more important is that a lot of people aren't aware, but for the TIs out there, our situation, our situation is bad, much worse than anybody else's because they've already went ahead and started, testing this weaponry on us. They've already went out of their way to basically infect us, and they're going out of their way to basically keep tabs on wherever we're going, whatever we're buying, whatever we're doing. You best believe whenever any TI goes to a store, you best believe there's going to be a whole bunch of fucking people showing up. You could show up at a store that has little to no customers in it, and all of a sudden there's a whole bunch of people showing up. Every single one of them are perps, perpetrators, hired by the same system that has put this shit out there to infect you, any man, woman, and child. All right? That's what it's doing. I've lost track of how much stuff they basically went out and poisoned. But let me tell you something. If as desperate as I know, I'm sensing that they're going to be getting, none of the stuff in the city is going to be usable. None of it. It's just going to be too damn dangerous to even to use it. It's already dangerous to use tap water. Not to mention the whole situation with the sea life washing up on the shores like that of Florida. What the hell caused all that dead marine life to wash up on the shores, I wonder? What the hell caused that? That's something that is in water, but that's a lot of fucking fish. That is a lot of fish. I mean, I understand the Gulf of Mexico because of all the toxified, things they've done there. But man, dude, I don't even know what to say about it. I just don't. I really don't. I want to be able to help other fellow TIs out there. Maybe we can get together, come up with a plan, maybe make a settlement somewhere, make a campsite. But at the same time, the one important thing for all of us to do who are fellow targeted individuals is to detoxify this stuff and get this crap out of our system. Get deprogrammed from the system. Get that nano junk out of your body. Really fix your diet up. And no, I am not telling you to go vegan. Veganism is actually part of the problem. And some people who don't know, I mean, look, I don't know what else to tell you. Blame Monsanto for that shit. Okay? Blame them and the people above them who basically made those those GMOs and who are putting all of this toxified stuff in the air that's also infecting the crops. By the way, the only way to have any type of non-nano infected crops at all is to have it in the greenhouse. You can't grow that outside. Otherwise, the oxygen, it's going to get to it and it's just going to immediately infect the crop with nanotech. And that's just what it does. That's if you haven't seen the whole scenario with farmers who are overseas, you will find out there's some pretty grim stuff happening lately. There's farmers who committed suicide. They had to commit suicide because of all the lawsuits and all the debt that they were getting into because of the gene codes that were coming from Monsanto's crops were transferring through the oxygen systems to where it's getting into their crops. You see how that works? You see, they knew this shit was gonna happen. They knew. They didn't care, but they did it to it's basically sabotage. That's basically what it is. It's just nothing but sabotage. And that's what this system does. This main system has been used on countless amounts of people. I guarantee you, even the fucking George Floyd murder was a setup. Okay? It was a damn setup. The shit was a set up. You don't believe me? Man, watch the documentary of the Shadowgate. Watch that documentary. Watch that documentary. Watch the documentary of Out of Shadows. Watch the and it's much more out there than that, man. There's much more. But another movie, there's a movie out there that actually gives you a good idea of how deceptive this this weapon grade system is. Watch the movie called The Grid. Watch that movie. And I'm telling you, that damn movie will give you a good idea on what is happening today, what we're dealing with. There's no denying that the system that has already been rolled out into the cities while people were in their homes is there. It is. It's hidden too. They're not going to have it to where you can. I believe this is, as deceptive as this organization is, I believe they had this situation set up to where they had this stuff installed where certain places where people will be able to see it. At the same time that's happening, they have it installed. They're installing it elsewhere too, where people won't see it. But in the end, they were just in a complete rush to basically get this stuff rolled out. I wanted to upload the footage that I actually found of the huge cord systems that I was finding on the side of this, just of this building alone and the parking lot. But footage got corrupted. And after that, I just left that situation alone. I did try to go back, but they really started psyop in that area. They really did. So that was a key factor that did bother them. But at the same time, I hope people start to understand, even these gang stalkers are controlled, dude. Even they're controlled. Come on. They're talking about poisoning the water system. These gang stalkers who live around this neighborhood also drink that water and bathe in that water, right? And I'm not talking about fluoridation. They, not even just that, but they're also going after the homes and stuff like that, tearing shit apart and whatnot. Don't some of these gang stalkers live in them homes, in those suburbs areas? You see how the cross effectiveness goes? I hope people start to really see that for what it is. And this is why I said I'm not fighting a civil war. People don't take this the wrong way. But I said I wasn't going to fight a civil war because I knew there were people who are basically being controlled by this weapon grade system. People who are just being programmed to have this fixated mindset just so that these bastards basically can get numbers up for them to basically fight for their bullshit cause. I see right through that. The war should be fought with the people who are actually controlling that weapons grade system. That's where you need to take these riots to. That's where you need to start tearing down. Take it to the people who are using these systems to control people. Once you get rid of that, your problem's solved. But will people ever wake up to that? I don't know. I'm still seeing people going up to the courthouses thinking, that's going to do anything. It's not, man. It's not. I wish it would. But look, I'm really sorry to say it, people, but even the voting, it's all rigged. All of it is rigged, man. Every single bit of everything is rigged. They want you to stay in a situation to where you don't act. But if you do act, what they want you to do is to basically start a civil war. They want you to do that, man. They are begging for you to do that. They really are. I don't know what the outcome of it is going to be, but I know one thing: there's no way God is going to let these individuals get away with what they've done. Now, these people's faces that you see here, I don't even know if these are people who are still you know, still currently involved, like still currently working for these organizations. Maybe they retired. I don't know. Possibly are, possibly are not. But let me just check out the bottom there. You see the whole thing right there that says fusion centers. So let's take a look at the graph here. You see the first three up ahead is CIA, MJ12, CFR. Now those three are connected on their own, and then they are connected with the ODNI. On that list you have three other tabs along with the ODNI. Now those three, the DOJ, the DIA, are connected with the ODNI, and then that also ties in from the ODNI. You got that going from there to the AFSPC. That's Air Force Space Command. The ODNI is the Office of the Director National Intelligence. The DOJ is obviously the Department of Justice. People, if you didn't know about this, I'm gonna warn you now. The fucking court system is rigged. It is. If you end up trying to take anything to court, they're just gonna rig it. They're just gonna rig it to where they change the judge and they change all the the jury to where they basically give you an unfavorable verdict. That's it. That's it. That's why I have no confidence at all in taking these bastards to court, because it's not gonna work if they can basically twist the shit in their favor. It isn't going to do any bit of good. And I hate, trust me, I hate to look at it in that perspective, but that's just the truth. They have literally twisted the situation up, man. People, there are politicians, that whole, what is that? That whole second stimulus package people are waiting for? That the freaking person who was supposed to be in there on the Democrat side, to basically be in those meetings and shit for the shit to be passed. The fucker's been avoiding that this whole time. Did you know that? But meanwhile, people and their families are families and their kids are starving out there. People no longer have a job. People are becoming homeless, man. It's insane. It is insane. These people do not give a fuck. And then when you got these, these people within the neighborhood, who are willing to basically fight for a revolution, go in there to see maybe we can still talk with these bastards. At least give them a warning at the most part, which they did. And he ends up pointing out that the guys actually have the fucking nerve to fall asleep, unemerged to fall asleep in his damn chair while he's wearing the damn mask. While he's wearing the mask. And I'm just like, wow, dude. Wow. These people in power do not give a fuck. These people who are being paid do not give a fuck. They don't care. They really don't care. They really don't. They honestly don't. So, you see right next to the DOJ is the DIA, the Defense Intelligence Agency. Now, those two are all linked to the ODNI, as I mentioned before, and then below beside the ODNI, you got the AFSPC. That's Air Force Space Command, and that's also linked directly with directed energy weapons. So you want to know where that shit is coming from? It's coming from them and private contractors. All of that is tied into Home Security Intelligence Council, HSIC. You go in the next tab below, you see the DHS Intelligence and Analysis. Now, that one is just on its own, and it connects with the ODNI, and then that's also going down to fusion centers. So the AFSPC is in charge with managing the direct energy weapons, right? As well as the private contractors that they use to basically utilize these things out into the public areas. So those guys are the ones responsible, it isn't just them, it's the people who are investing for this shit to happen too. they're just as responsible. Now, when it comes to this weapons testing, this is being done on U.S. citizens. This is being done on citizens around the world, man, around the world, not just in your local neighborhood, around the world, all over the place. These assholes are using these weapons on their own damn citizens, and their people are being tortured. Their people being basically, electronically, mind raped, and it is just an insane thing. These people get off on this. These people have no empathy at all for what they do when it comes to this. And I'm not specifically pointing these people out on the screen, but you see that they are involved. So, they know with their involvement, there's no way that they do not know what's going on. So, I mean, there you have it. Now, there could be some people who don't know. There's most certainly people who do know, but that's just the obvious reality on all of this. So, understand what the FBI's involvement with this too, which is underneath the the DOJ's tab. Understand that, that's the Terrorist Screening Center. Now, that's where a lot of that stuff ties into where new targeted individuals go from, as well as the gang stalking program, which is underneath the DHS intelligence analysis program, which is also tied with the fusion centers. And then you see where the arrow goes up to direct energy weapons. So there you have it. ODNI directs DHS. DHS directs fusion, deals with the fusion centers, and is also linked to the gang stalking program. The gang stalking program is meant for, it's mainly meant for these, the street theater that takes place out in the public area, to where people don't know wouldn't even know, what's really happening. They would assume that these people are just minding their own business, but it's far from the truth. Way far from the truth. These people are doing scripted behavior that's already been, that has already been relayed to them either from their phone or either from in person. They act these scripted behaviors out. This could go as far as from a single layer of clothing that they're wearing as to a specific color that ties in with color harassment. There could be a type of verbal harassment. There could be even some subliminal gestures. Anything that's dealing with information. Understand, this does tie with the FBI and the Central Intelligence, so they know everything about you. Everything. So understand this one simple thing. They already have the logistics of getting the information to relay this shit, something that only you would know, out and around you. But they don't ever, one thing I noticed, they don't ever call you out by name. They never do it. They only say stuff that relates to you out in the open. They only do that. That's it. They may also, when it comes to thievery, they may have somebody show up in something that you recently owned that was stolen from you. That is something that they do. I've noticed they've done that to Brian too. They have tried that on me before, but God taught me not to, the Most High taught me not to really put my all into materialistic things, and that's just how it is. Understand, this operation does not give a single flipping flying fuck about any type of materialistic item. Only you. If you put your energy into a specific item, they will do all that they can to get that item from you. And then they will basically psyop you with that item. They will do that. This is why it's important not to be fixated on materialistic things. Don't. Remember, the day that once you die, you can't bring that shit with you. You can't. So don't ever put your all in materialistic things. Don't. Anyway, you see that, so when you see, there's your proof though, everybody. When you see gang stalking and you see that scripted behavior, when you see that, you best believe that the person who's going through that, there's a big chance that person is going to end up with, being attacked with directed energy weapons for testing. Illegal, unethical based testing. And the only thing that these individuals who do this to people have in their head, at least it's not me. That's all they got going on in their heads. That's it. As long as it's not them being, victimized by this, as long as them not being attacked, they don't care. They do not care. They don't. So NTC and FBI is all going to end up dealing with anybody who's newly targeted. So you best keep an so to TI's there. If you catch any FBI agents near you, you best fucking get their plates. Now, National Center Counter Terrorist Center, they are going to most likely be the ones who have you on the list. Now, people may be wondering what list I'm talking about. Well, it's supposed to be the terrorist watch list thing. Now, this relates into what Obama did when he had. Now, he was mainly responsible for this part, but understand people were being targeted by these weapons even before then. There was a list out there where they had a list of terrorists out there. What he did was he had them basically drop that list, drop the names off that list, and they re-amped the new list. This list actually had a number of innocent civilians on it. There's a chance that some of these people possibly could be criminals, but you gotta understand the deception out there when it comes to this technology. If they had the technology to control a person, to program a person, can that person's actions really be at fault of their own? Can a person really be liable for their own actions at that point? If someone's under the effect of, directed energy weapons and mind manipulation? Really ask yourself that. Did this individual do this specific type of act or a specific type of crime of their own accord? Or were they controlled into doing it? That's the question you need to ask yourself right there. So anyway, if you're wondering about my situation, basically I was guided into moving to this apartment complex. Why? You may be wondering why. Well, simple, because there's a whole bunch of cameras around here. They wanted me here because why? Well, there's a lot of surveillance that they have here. Not just a lot of surveillance, but also there's the camera systems to see when you're coming and going. They didn't have that where I was at before, so they couldn't really keep tabs on me as much as they wanted to back then. They couldn't. And not to mention they weren't really that obvious, and there were subtle hints that it was becoming obvious that I was being stalked. There was even subtle hints about certain other things too. I had like the first time I bought a Nintendo Switch, there was these goons basically they're doing the whole threatening gesturing. I didn't know what it was, but it was all premeditated bullshit. It was all premeditated bullshit. So what I simply did, right? I actually started to test this out just to see, and it turns out these people are actually fucking cowards. These people who are doing it, they're cowards. They're fucking cowards. They are. I know because that bravery only came from that guy simply because he was in a crowd with other people doing the same shit. But on their own, no. Hell no. The place where these perps get their confidence is the fact that they work for the cops and FBI. That's where they're getting their confidence to do this crap. And these assholes who work for these agencies are telling them, no, it's perfectly legal what you're doing. Oh, so isn't stalking a crime? Right? Isn't that a crime? So they're basically telling these people that it's legal to stalk. They're telling them this. They're telling them it is perfectly legal to stalk people. Last time I checked, that was supposed to be a fucking crime. So doesn't that mean that they're technically the same people in charge of upholding the law is telling these idiots to basically break that same law? These people don't have no fucking credentials to do what they're doing. They don't. They're not cops. They're not government agents. They're not police. They don't have no badge. They didn't go to school for that shit. They're random citizens that they're hired off the street to break the law. And they mean to tell me that shit's legal? Fuck no. There's nothing legal about that. Nothing. There's nothing, especially with the poisoning. Don't get me started on the poisoning. I've caught them doing this too, several times. Hang on, I'm not downloading anything, but I've caught them doing this, man. I've caught these individuals who they basically hire to do the stalking shit. I've caught them lacing down doorknobs. I've caught them basically, tampering with the mail, which is a felony offense. Now understand, even as I make this video, I'm still being surveyed by this organization that does this. Every day I go out, being stalked, being followed, and any item I grab out of the store, you best believe they already got a psyop all around that. They do. They got a psyop around that. Most chances are they're gonna lace every little thing that you basically buy. Everything. This is why they always want to pay attention to what you're getting out of the store, so they can lace it ahead of time. Have an agent nearby to verify and see if you're picking up that item. This also plays into the whole programming. So the whole programming. You do anything different, you do anything spontaneous, they immediately act out. They do. They make a scene out of it. I ended up going grocery shopping and I ended up picking one single item different from what I normally get all of a sudden, and they do this every time. They do. The only time they will never do it is when you start trying to call them out on it. Understand, they already, excuse me, they've already been watching you. So when you say, I'm going to catch them in the act of this, they're already relaying that information to the people you're going to meet up with when you have to purchase your shit. So are they going to do that? No. No. And this is where the discrediting comes in. They keep tabs on you ahead of time so that they can catch up with you later on to discredit you. Everything bent upon what they do is all in a means to basically for character assassination, to pretty much a whole lot more. People understand this organization is involved with human trafficking. This is where this shit is coming from. All this shit you see here, these organizations are involved with human trafficking. That's right. All of it. All of that shit is linked with it, as well as the private contractors. So what do you think is happening when they basically tell these perpetrators it's okay to stalk? Remember Kanika Jenkins' case? Remember how her organs came up missing? Remember how, you basically seen that, the UN basically declared that directed, no-touch torture exists and that there is an ongoing investigation out on that? Are we just going to pretend like several people who were involved with that same night of her death didn't just up and die in a single month? Are we going to pretend that didn't just happen? You want to know why that happened? It's because they were afraid they were going to talk. That's why. People, this program is involved with basically manipulating the minds of many different people against their own will. This technology is so sinister, man. These people who do this are cowards. They really are. They're so this is why you should never fear them. Because they fear the truth. This is why they put so much money into this program. They put so much money. This is the exact program responsible for keeping the Matrix camouflage up. This is your enemy. This is the exact same program that's there. And you best believe that, when I say that this is basically as well as overseas, this is just this, this organizations in the US. What about the organizations in other countries? You best believe they have a similar weaponized structure like this one. You best believe they do. You best believe they do. Understand that this also is involved with, this does involve some military as well. It does. I would, as you see, when you see the AFSPC, the Air Force Space Command, that's still leading that much closer into military. Now, you may have noticed the California lightning strikes, right? The fires that started. But if you watch the channel A Plain Truth 5, you will see the video he posted where it shows these, these weaponized crafts that they got going on. These things are in triangle shaped. Okay, they're triangle shaped, and there's been evidence even on that same video shows that there's lightning being created from the ground up. These are man-made structures. These are man-made events. This is not natural. This is not wild. This is just something that was deliberately done. If this situation gets to a civil war and people really do become that much well aware of what this shit is doing, anybody who's flying about basically spraying those chemtrails, here's my warning to you: you might want to stop that shit because it might. I'm just telling you, if this stuff really goes down that way, and they people really figure this out, which they're gonna eventually figure out, you might not want to be flying your plane above them. I'm telling you that for your own protection and for your own defense, because they may be telling you to spray this stuff out. And you know, there's always that chance that that person doesn't even know what they're spraying. But then again, there's always a chance that that person have, you know damn well, fully well of what they're spraying. Remember the pictures that I showed on the other channel that showed all of these biohazard symbols on these damn tankers and stuff like that? It's all on these planes that they're spraying these chemtrails out. It seems like anybody who starts really talking about this and starts mentioning many different points and makes headway out on this, right? And really makes headway, they always send people out there to basically try to discredit the shit out of it, give people falsified, really try to. And something what's even more suspicious? I had the on the main channel that I had when I was talking about this, they send they had people's names channel saying like protocol and shit like this, and I'm like, how more obvious can you get? You basically your name gives you away. You're saying that your name says that you're basically a protocol for when people are getting too close to the truth or when they're really right at it. They're gonna lie. They're gonna do whatever they can to lie to basically, discredit the truth for what it is, so that you won't know, so that you won't be able to protect yourself or your family. That's just how this is. It's that damn wicked. Number one is CFR.org. Number two is CIA operations. Number three is AFCP. No. AFSPC. 50 Wing. Office. Number four is Office of DNI. Number five is Defense Intelligence Agency. Number six is DHS Intelligence and Analysis. Number seven is Justice Department National Security Division. Number eight is FBI National Security Branch. Number nine is Homeland Security Intel Council. Number 10 is MJ12. Successor organizations, and as you see, opinions of Richard Lighthouse. Okay, I don't know what that is. But as you see, damn near all of the protective networks in the U.S. are full of shit. That's just the bottom line to it. It's full of shit. All of it is. Every single one of them have their hands in their dirty work, and that's just it. People, when it comes, and the people who are looking to vote, look, I'm just going to tell you the blunt truth. Both sides are corrupt. Okay, both. The left is meant to basically be, as negative as it possibly can be, and the right is meant to have this false sense of positivity. That's how it works. They got the hand of negative, and then they got the hand of positive. That's what they're playing to basically try to twist you and program you. But both sides lead you down the same fucking path. It's like seeing two different entrances but in the end, once you walk in, you're not aware that they both connect to the same thing. You're not aware of that. It'd be like two different corridors that basically both connect. It's two different doors, but they both connect to the same damn hallway. Once you go through them, it's made this look like it's just you have that diversity effect that you can basically just walk away from the other side. No, hell no. They both go to the same damn stuff, man. You got to really be able to look through that. Depending on the government systems is not going to do you any good. Depending on a lot of this, them to actually do the job is not going to do you any good. They don't care, man. They do not care. They're being paid to really, do the opposite of what they're supposed to do. That's just how it is. Favoritism is one hell of an infectious personality. It is. Favoritism is one hell of a thing, man. It really is. People's greed is one hell of a thing. And that's what's tying into a lot of this that's going on now. Selfishness, greed, and so many people have lost their lives to this mess. So many. And these assholes are still looking, saying, nah, as long as I get my paycheck, I'm still gonna do my dirt. I'm still gonna do what I'm doing. I'm not claiming to be no kind of saint. I just want to at least do some good out here. Whatever time, little time I got on this earth. That's it. That's all I care about, really. As long as I'm able to help a few folks out, especially TIs out there, that's all that matters. That's it. That is it. Everybody's been programmed in some way or another, man. Everybody has. Everybody's had their own will turned against them, their own brain, their own minds turned against them in some way or another. Everybody's been a victim of Project Bluebeam. If you had a phone, you've been a project. You're a victim of Project Bluebeam. If you own a smart TV, you are a victim of Project Bluebeam. If you basically been around, motorized vehicles who have those lights fixtures in them that have that huge bluish effect to them, that blue hue, you're basically are a victim of Project Bluebeam. If you've been using tap water, you are a victim of being poisoned by fluoridation. If you live on the grid and they have sprayed any of the areas you have lived in, you have witnessed these chemtrails out in the damn sky, you are a victim of geoengineering poisoning. If you eaten any type of food, like high fructose corn syrup, you are a victim of poisonous substances that have been banned in other countries. And this goes to it's just a lot more substances than you know that they put in these foods. A lot more. People, I don't know how more obvious I can get. This shit is just structured to kill people. It's structured to kill and murder people and being as deceptive as possible about it while doing it. They don't tell you what they put in your food. They don't want you to know what they put in, what they're spraying out in the sky. They don't want you questioning that. No. They don't want you to know anything about that. They don't want you to know what they're doing. They don't want you to know who they're paying off. They don't want you to know the truth behind this bullshit. They don't want you to know. They don't. They don't want you to know. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why TIs are targeted. Because we question the reality of what we live in. We question the very identity of what is actually, reality and what is false reality. And it's because of that they go so far and they pay out so much money to do this, to do what they're doing to people. That's what they do. It's pretty obvious that whatever it is they're trying to hide, I'm just going to call out for what it is. Whatever it is they're trying to really hide, they don't want people to know about it. They don't. Not that they're spending this much, dude. This whole weapons grade system, for them to be spending that much money, there is no pay grade amount of money for anybody to really be that damn dedicated to this situation. This is what led me to, as well as poisoning themselves. People, I've been gang stalked with people who are still poisoning themselves with this shit, okay? I'm confident these people are being fucking controlled. You can't tell me that if you're telling somebody that this stuff, and you even show the statistics to prove it too, that the stuff they're putting in all of the shit that they're doing is basically going to kill you. You're telling them this, and they're ignoring it. That's proof that that person's not in control of their own actions at that point. There's clearly something else going on there, and you got the formula for mind control right there, all around the area. You got it all there. You got all that. You got the grid. You got all the cell towers there. You got the transceivers that they can always put transceivers just about anywhere. Then you got the fact that these scientists were working to basically make devices stronger. Don't you know they're basically making tracking technology much smaller too? You see, they use an excuse and they provide a solution to hide what they were really doing. They, the system creates a problem so that they can basically roll in the solution for themselves, not for the people, for themselves, for what they want, for what's good for them, not good for the people. That's how government is, man. That's just how it is. This voting shit is not going to do anybody any good. I'm sorry. That's just how it is. The whole damn thing is rigged. It's all rigged. Going back to the same system that's controlled is not going to do anybody any good. You got to basically take matters into your own hands. You got to. That's the only way you're going to be able to make a difference. That's the only way. If you guys hear that that thing in the background, I don't know if you can, but if you do, just forgive me about that. That's the thing they deal with the whole, to basically detox me with this crap that they've been lacing on me all this time that's been happening. The people who don't know, look, they most likely will lie in your face. They will bold face lie in your face and not tell you what the fuck is really going on. They'll tell you any bit of information to get you on board. They'll tell you any information to basically get you to work for their shit. But you best fucking believe that this shit is way more deceptive than you know. You best believe that one. And these people who are, do this or, to break it down for you, I went out of my way to basically help my cousin out. All right, I did. I found the information of pointing out a lot of this shit, and I found undeniable evidence that pointed that showed this shit was happening. You want to know what they did to her? Even after when I told mom what was going on, and I told her I was starting to find all this shit. You want to know what they did to her? They laced her at her job where she was working at. They did that. They did. I don't know how she hinted me off, but she did. So they got to her. When I asked, the question, did they threaten you? She hung up the phone. People, I've dug up research and I've even tried different things on my own damn body just to try to relieve any of the stress for fellow TIs out there. I'm not claiming to be no damn saint. I just want to be able to help people out as much as I can. I want to be able to destroy this damn grid and this technology that's trying to desperately program people into monsters. I say this because of half the shit I've seen due to my research. These mass shootings are not a random occurrence. That shit was programmed. That was somebody intended for that to happen. And we've seen so much of that happen, man. Kids have been in the crossfire of this shit. Elderly, random folks around the neighborhood and shit, man, and they didn't deserve any of that. Nobody's perfect, but at the same time, nobody deserves to go out like that, man. Nobody does. I'm going to end this video here. I can only hope for the best for everybody. As always, stay safe, stay strong.